Welcome back. I told you I was coming back a little bit later than normal, but we here. So we're gonna have a good time so we can go into the part that I left y'all hanging on last night. My apologies. But we're gonna finish it up tonight, and then I'll tell you the game plan for the next one. So thanks for everyone that had waited and came out once again. So let's get this party started. Hold on, let me get my stuff together here. Put my little stuff on the side. See if there's anything in here I need to look at real quick. Yeah, no popcorn, no bed bugs tonight. All right, so hold on one second. All right, for those of you who was here last night, you kind of know where it left off. So it's sitting here because this is kind of right in the area where to be continued sign came up, and we'll take it from there. And actually, when this is done, I had to put part one link in the description so that other people can find it who haven't watched it. But y'all wanted to see the evidence? It's evidence night or picture night, whatever you want to call it. But we on part two or series two. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, episode two, whatever. Let's go.
Second. I don't know. Are you able to see this most recent one?
No, I can't see.
That's the wrong document. Hang on a second. This is where. Let's see if that's visible to you. Hang on a second.
It looks like somebody else's
It
joint
is.
motion.
Yeah, it's strange because I can see the picture, and then when I do that, hang on a moment. Let's see what happens when I do this. And I'm going to stop sharing.
Your Honor, Fernanda's going to attempt to share her screen with that photo.
I think I'm there. So that's the second photo. Are you able to see that?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the second photo. So how this would work.
And I don't object to, if Ms. LeCompte is okay with it, just submitting these as exhibits for the purposes of this hearing and not requiring her to testify to these as exhibits.
Okay, so Mr. Reynolds is waiving his right to even require that you testify. If you want to have those two photographs admitted for my consideration, then it would just be an opportunity for both Mr. Reynolds to argue how this fails to comply, and you could argue that you do comply. Does that make sense to you, Ms. LeCompte?
Yes.
Okay. So with that stipulation, defendant's exhibits, and we'll call these defendant's exhibits A and B. The first one that I showed you was a moment ago, that's up right now, is defendant's exhibit A. And then the second one will be defendant's exhibit B. I'm going to leave exhibit A up. I think it's the one that gives me the best view. Both A and B have been admitted. Mr. Reynolds, would you like to make an argument?
Yes, Your Honor, and if it's okay with the court, I might share my screen so I can control and zoom in on this photograph.
That's fine. I'll stop sharing and allow you to use your screen.
And Your Honor, Ms. LeCompte is currently under the court, let's see, why is it not sharing? It says that I'm screen sharing. Oh, I know why. I was in my breakout room. All right.
Joys of technology. They help us and hurt us.
Okay, so Your Honor, Ms. LeCompte is currently under your court order to remove all loose property around her house. And if you look at the photograph that has been submitted by Ms. LeCompte of her house, you can see much loose property remains. Right outside her front door, as you can see my cursor encircling a bunch of loose property. As if I pan right, all surrounding the juniper bush, multiple hoses, just various discarded items. As I keep panning to the right, you can continue to see the loose property around Ms. LeCompte's house. Some various types of machinery. There is a refrigerator. There is some construction equipment And then if you look at the second picture,
That'll be Exhibit B.
which I believe,
Maybe she sells stuff. Maybe she fixed stuff.
was this one. Sure. I apologize, it's the same. The second picture. And then you can see on the second picture that we have not looked at yet, it goes a little bit more to the right. You can see that there's even more loose property over here, hoses, various items. So even this seems to be in about the same state, if not a little bit worse, from what she was at on February 24th. That just on this east side, you can see from the front door across to the juniper bush, across the garage, there's still much loose property that remains. All the parts of the house that are visible, this part is blocked by the juniper bush, but you can see this large white container as well with things piled on top of it. It would be logical to assume that this pile of things extends across the front porch to the house. There's just still loose property remaining. And you can't quite see it on the Zoom
I have
screen.
to shut up. Come tell me.
Yeah.
You can't see it on the Zoom screen because the blacks are a little bit too dark, but there's just loose property still all around the house. It looks better than it has looked, but it's still not, there's still loose property that is not in compliant with the court's order. And
If you cut that tree right there or whatever that is, I bet you it's I bet you it's a whole nother section of stuff going on under that little tree over there.
given the state of the property that the court has seen it in, the city would suggest to the court that even allowing, this amount of loose property, which is better, but it's still a lot, more than one truckful worth, is too much, and that she's not in compliance. And so the city would ask the court to impose part of the suspended sentence that it's already imposed on Ms. LeCompte, to demonstrate that when the court says all this property must be removed, that is a clear direction, and any normal observer of reasonable mind would say that this is still a lot of loose property around this house, and it needs to be removed, and it hasn't been, and it's been months.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Reynolds. Ms. LeCompte, it's now your opportunity, and we can do this one of two ways. I can put up the exhibits if you want to discuss them, if you simply want to make an argument based on what you've heard from Mr. Reynolds. But he put up both exhibits, went through them, showed what his position is with respect to the property. If you want me to put them up, I can simply put them up for you, and then you can tell me where to move so that you can show me what you want me to see.
All right. No pro se, no soft sit. Yeah, that's a good point. Something up under there. I'm just going through some of these comments. Yeah, if that was a yard sale, she saw all that stuff, she might be able to pay for something. All right, let me go back into it.
Why don't you put up one? They're fairly similar, so why don't you put up the one that shows that's the furthest south?
The furthest south. Okay, so I believe that would be Defendant's Exhibit B, but tell me if it is one. I'll share right now and you tell me if that's the right one, and we'll go from there.
It's the one that shows the garbage cans.
Okay. Is that the one?
Well, that'll do. I think so.
Got the garbage cans here on the right. Can you see
Yep.
my cursor?
Yes, yes.
My hand there. There's the garbage cans. There's the items that Mr. Reynolds was describing. There's the juniper bush. There's the items that are behind the juniper bush. There's the items on the porch, things of that nature. And
Okay.
All right, what would you like to say?
Can you see my cursor, the little arrow right here?
Well, you're not going to be able to mark on mine, so no,
Okay.
I can't, your
Okay.
screen's not being shared. Mine's the one that's being shared, but
Okay, then let me just describe the things.
sure.
Right at the corner between the carport and the house, there is an upright blue piece of metal. That's a hoist.
Okay,
And that is being used to move the very heavy items like the refrigerator, which was in the carport and is being to be loaded into on and moved to the extra storage space. That's the name of the company on Arapahoe that I have reserved quite a lot amount of space to receive the things that we are taking away from the house to be stored there. And so that refrigerator came out of the carport area to make
when you say
more room.
carport, do you mean garage, or what do you mean by carport?
Where the white doors are,
Okay,
that's actually a carport.
I see, okay.
Okay.
You can't tell what that is. But anyway, Alicia, thanks for the super chat. I really appreciate that. And telekinesable is in the house. That's a relative, y'all. Thanks for stopping by and checking me out. All right. Let's see if we can find this carport. It's so much stuff out there. I mean, it's less than what it was, but that's pretty bad.
And those doors aren't original with the house, but anyway. So we needed to make space to put the two green boxes that you see to the left of that, some tools and things that are right up against the back of the house, which Mr. Reynolds objected to last time, and to put them in the carport area or in the garage itself. And the same thing is true. There's a behind the garage, the garbage cans is a ladder that is also being used to move things and stuff. So that is and those are basically things that are in the process of being shoved around so that we can actually comply with what Mr. Reynolds said was missing last time. The hoses and things are things that we have used to water our trees. And Mr. Reynolds said before that was okay to have tools and stuff things like garden hoses and stuff. There are a number of things between the brick column and the juniper on the porch.
Yes,
There are some things that were moved again out of the garage and are being taken to the extra storage space so that we can actually put things, so that we can actually get this completely cleared off, as is what I am being asked to do.
I know if it was me and I had to go to court and people are taking pictures of my property, I wouldn't want nobody to see that. I would hurry up and get that cleaned up and get that somewhere. But the fact she's trying to explain, like she's basically trying to justify it, and y'all can put in the comments what you think, but I think, hoarders will do that. So just let me know what y'all think.
So I can understand that this doesn't look like complete compliance, but what I would like to argue is that this is not willful non-compliance, but that we have been working extremely hard to try to find places to get rid of things that we really don't want, to store things that we really would like to keep, and make the whole front of the house and the side yard as well be free of anything other than yard equipment like hoses and garden tools and things like that, and so forth. And the porch swing and the chairs that we sit in, things like that. In other words, yard furniture.
So I'm maximizing mine and then moving it so that you can respond if you choose to talk about any of the things that are over here, or I've got my cursor. There's a number of things over there.
There's a couple of boxes right towards the front of the patio. We had put so much stuff into our trash bins that our recycle bins, that the city didn't pick it up last time. So there's 2 boxes of empty aluminum cans and plastic bottles, things like that, that are going to go over to, excuse me, East EcoCycle to be taken away, but they weren't hauled away in the last trash pickup, which was on Friday. There are, I can't really tell other things. There's some watering cans that are used to water some. There are
what about all this that I've got my cursor on over to the far left of the screen?
Oh, you need to add more comments about that. Because we talking about evidence and she's not following the judge's orders. And if you're a new one that just came in here and don't know what this case is about, you need to watch the first part. I'm gonna leave it right there.
See that area that I'm circling?
And blue onto our card. See right there?
Yep.
What you're circling, yeah. Those and a couple of other things blew into our probably this during the heavy winds last night and this morning, which I haven't had a chance to remove. So, I mean, I can't really see absolutely everything well, but
looks to be a tire there. There's some
I think that
boxes.
The boxes I was talking about that were full of recycle are to the right of that. There's some sort of diagonally. There's a to the far right of this photograph. There is a big box and a big diagonally. Well, that's the box.
Is this what you're talking about when you say far right over by the trash cans, or just far right?
I'm talking about on the other side of the still on the patio.
Okay. Right in here?
Nope, keep going. Keep going.
More to the right?
More to the right. No, I'm sorry. Shit.
To the left.
No, to the left.
This area right here.
That's that area right there. That has blown in.
But what about, that looks to be a tire right there. That didn't blow in, right?
No, that is not a tire. Yes, that is a tire. And that is, I'm not quite sure where that came from.
And there's a crate of some sort and some stuff on a crate. Doesn't look like the type of thing that would blow in.
No, there is a galvanized pail that has a dog food in it that we use to feed our dogs outside. On top of that is a box that I just brought home last night from a party that had I carried a fruit cobbler in it to put into my car, and I didn't remove it this morning.
Okay. All right. Anything else that you'd like to comment on before I make a decision here?
Your Honor, may I speak?
Uh-oh, there he is.
Not unless she wants to call you as a witness. If she wants to call you as a witness, I'll swear him in, and then keep in mind that Mr. Reynolds will have a chance to ask you questions.
I did ask earlier to, and it may have been to Chris, Mr. Reynolds, if Mr. Lau could be admitted to help answer some questions.
So would you like to call him as a witness?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Lau, why don't you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. I'm not going to require that you ask him questions, Ms. LeCompte. Mr. Lau, you can simply just give your testimony, and then when you're done, keep in mind that Mr. Reynolds will have an opportunity to ask questions if he chooses to do so.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I am the one, and of course it's verified by the email that was sent in for the pics, the photos for the February 24th, as well as the 2 photos today.
Okay.
But first of all, I would like to clarify that I guess I did not send it in the longest, highest resolution, but it's not a tire that you've been referring to. Those are actually the 2 black things on the ground. If you can zoom in even closer, and of course, and I actually went and double checked because I know I don't have a tire there. It's actually 2 batteries that I am just in the process of charging and moving them out of the way. Of course, nobody would keep 2 batteries there for no good reason. So it's not a tire in any sense.
Okay.
Okay. But once again, back to February 24th. I was, of course, I joined late as well. My apology. And I was most pleased that Prosecutor Reynolds said nice things, kind things, and nice things about the condition of the driveway and so forth. But he really voiced concern that that there was a wooden bench with some tools on it and a snow shovel that was right in front of Your Honor, kind of directly west of that hose reel that you were referring to earlier. And he was most concerned that that was there. So as you can see, whatever that wooden bench and the tools and whatever, it was no longer there. And you can, of course, refer to the photo that was entered into evidence on February 24th. So once again, I was most pleased with what Prosecutor Reynolds said that day. But to me, it's a continuing shifting of the goalposts, shifting of the requirement that if one can compare the 2 photos from 24th and also today, you can see that there is even a significant improvement.
Oh, I had to stop real quick. Dilfag, welcome. Thank you for the super chat. Glad to see you. All right, let's see. Let me make sure I don't miss anybody else. I'll stop right away. All right, let's go back in. But yeah, appreciate that, man.
So, and yes, Your Honor, while it is true of what was your ruling on October 8th, it is still my understanding based on February 24th that the defendant and me, the interested party, is making very good progress. And today, of course, we've demonstrated that we've made even more progress. But with Prosecutor Reynolds now referring back to, of course, to your original judgment, all loose items, and of course, and with 633 even includes recyclables and so forth. It's even having anything recyclable for trash pickup and whatever could potentially be in violation of 633. So with that, Your Honor, I refer back to the defendant and the court. Thank you.
Mr. Lau, before you leave, are you wanting the court to, well, Ms. LeCompte, if you're still there, Ms. LeCompte?
Yes. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you had asked me to do.
Mr. Lau referenced the February 24th photograph. Are you wanting me to pull that photograph up and share that with Mr. Lau so that he can add additional testimony?
Oh, yes, that would be okay.
Give me a moment. I'm going to stop sharing on that screen so I can add bring the other one up. And I'll take a look at what we had. I think that may have been at the January. Let's take a look. I think this might be it. Everybody see that?
Yes, I can see that.
Okay, Mr. Lau, did you want to continue your testimony? This is the photograph from February 24th. We're going to call that Defendant's Exhibit C for this hearing's purposes. Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor, I would.
Let me just check with Mr. Reynolds. Mr. Reynolds, any objection to Exhibit C being admitted?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Exhibit C is admitted. Go ahead, Mr. Lau, if you want to talk about what you see there.
So, thank you, Your Honor. Once again, that was a photo that I've taken and sent to the court, and that has been entered. And it was while I did join late at court via Zoom. I was most pleased, and of course, I expressed my great pleasure and appreciation for Prosecutor Reynolds, saying that it's a tremendous improvement. And of course, I did explain the stuff at the corner of the so-called carport, tools that I need to fix the truck once I'm a little bit more mobile. But Mr. Prosecutor Reynolds was very specific on the bench, not quite where your cursor is, Your Honor, but sorry, a little bit more to the north of, yeah. Okay, close enough to, yeah. So that being the wooden bench with tools and actually several small sheet of metal.
I was muted again. Thanks for putting that up for me. Yeah, they'll take care of the questions, or I'll answer them on screen if somebody's lost or don't know what's going on. We do positive stuff here, nothing negative, and negativity normally doesn't stay here. So, let's see. Yeah, but somebody made a comment that was funny because it was like all this testimony about trash. It's I like that one. I forgot who put it.
Metal leaning against it, and a couple little other things on the yacht. So and of course there was a snow shovel right in front of it. And of course, Mr. Reynolds was very specific and said he's very concerned. Of course, I don't have photographic memory, but something the transcript or the court recording would show that he's very concerned if the snow shovel or whatever does not either get removed or things get accumulated in that specific area further and so forth. That would be his concern. And of course, we also, as you can even see from this picture, there is still significant water, and it's because of the flooding that happens both in the garage and in the carport area. And that was brought up with the court as well. And I thought that was also well understood by the prosecutor and the court. So with today's picture, which have been submitted as evidence, I believe A, there is no such pile of those things. And we have, as the defendant has stated, in order to move things out of the garage to deal with the flood and the stuff that's been wetted, and the city garbage and trash or recyclables removal would only remove so much at a time, which is every 2 weeks for recyclable or compostable, but that's another separate issue. So we have definitely, because Mr. Reynolds specifically mentioned that, we have specifically addressed that, and to hear today a shifting requirement again. I, as the interested party, just remain at at a loss and on how one can possibly fulfill an ever-shifting criteria by the prosecutor. Your Honor, yes, I do recall and I do understand what your order is on October 8th. I wasn't a defendant.
I'm gonna object. This isn't factual testimony. This is argument.
Yeah, let's just stay focused on what you're wanting to testify about the state of the property today and on February 24th. They're both relevant to me.
Yeah, he went into self-representation, wannabe attorney mode.
Okay, so just to quickly summarize, the picture, the photo in front of us, of course, right now is from February 24th, and Exhibit A, which has been shown earlier, shows a drastic marked improvement from this photo, and it also addressed the wood bench and with tools and things leaning and the snow shovel that
There it is, right there on the screen. This is what's going on. As she said, Marge owns that house, but Lau got sucked into it. But eventually, Lau might have his own problems. We'll see down the road.
Prosecutor Reynolds referred to specifically on February 24th. And with that, Your Honor, I rest.
Your Honor, could I add one other thing regarding those photographs?
You can, and I've shared basically Exhibit B from today's date that was submitted. You can go ahead and any other comment you'd like to make, but I'm going to hold off for you, Ms. LeCompte, because Mr. Lau just testified. I want to just check any questions. I wanted to make sure Mr. Reynolds didn't have any questions for Mr. Lau. So go ahead, Ms. LeCompte, you can make any further statement you'd like. And now you're looking at the photograph for today's date.
I'm sorry, are you wanting, is Prosecutor Reynolds going to speak now?
No, it's your turn. I wanted to make sure he didn't have any questions for Mr. Lau, and he does not.
Okay, there are a number of other tools and things that were removed. There were several dollies next to that refrigerator that we're planning to move, and a couple of other things like that. So I just wanted to add that.
Okay. Any other evidence or argument that you'd like to make, Ms. LeCompte?
No, other than to say that I share Mr. Lau's consternation as to how we are going to comply at the rate that that Prosecutor Reynolds would like, and also to reinforce that is a rate that we wish we could do, but we are not entirely able to do that. Judge, I don't know that you heard me explain to Mr. Reynolds that I've hired people, I've gotten additional storage space, and we've rented a large truck to move things, and that's about the capacity that I have. I would very much like to wave a magic wand and make it all go away, but I'm not in a position to be able to do that.
Now, you're telling me between the both of them, nobody has family? Neither one of them has family members at all? And these cases been going on for weeks and weeks and weeks. So the last stream I did, those were, well, y'all saw, it was multiple hearings. And he's like, oh, I'll give you 2 more weeks on this, 2 more weeks on this. This has been going on for a long time, over a year. So I'm sure at some point they should have been able to find somebody to help them out. So maybe she doesn't want to, and that's part of the hoarders discussion that everybody's been having.
Okay. I've heard the evidence. I'm going to treat Ms. LeCompte's testimony as basically the evidence for the hearing, and then I'm going to give both of you a chance to argue in conclusion, a short argument from the prosecution as to why you believe that she's failed to comply, and then any additional argument that Ms. LeCompte wants to make, an argument that she is in compliance. Go ahead, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Your Honor. In October of last year, the court ordered Ms. LeCompte to have all loose property around her house removed by January 6th of this year. We're now approximately 13 or 14 weeks after that date, and the pictures that Ms. LeCompte sent her probation officer this morning demonstrate that they're on the west side of the house, that there is still a lot of loose property.
Oh, I have to welcome a new member, Old Sub Sailor. Welcome. Appreciate you joining us. And just look forward to having you around and being here. So thanks for joining tonight.
She's describing what the property is, but it's still loose property in violation of the court's order. So we would ask the court to impose a similar consequence that it did in January of this year for non-compliance with the court's order. A giant refrigerator, a bunch of boxes, a bunch of other sort of trash. And it looks like you're just getting closer and closer to the house. And just because they moved the pile that was in front of the juniper bush, if we compare it to the February 24th photo, it looks like there's now just more stuff behind the juniper bush.
All right, Trish. 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate you doing that. And for the people that got them, that's in here. So welcome. Welcome to the membership. Thank you, Trish. And I'm sure they'll be thanking you too.
That is not good enough. And for Ms. LeCompte to say that she doesn't understand the court's order when it's just remove all loose property around the house, it just doesn't get more simple than that. And we're just months after the point in which this property needed to be in compliance.
All right, Ms. LeCompte, any additional argument that you'd like to make?
I do understand what the court's order is. My statement about consternation was that it is what I am finding it hard to do is not to willfully not comply, but to actually, under the circumstances the constrained circumstances that I have, both financially and physically, I am finding it difficult to comply very rapidly. I fully understand what the court's order is, and I am fully in sympathy with Mr. Reynolds' desire to have this done and over with, as I'm sure you are too, Judge. But and I know that saying I'm doing the best I can is not a good legal excuse. However, that is the case. I would really like to have a little more time to do the reorganization of our garage space so that much of this can completely disappear. I can't do that right now. I mean, I can't do that in this very minute. And anyway, that's all I have to say. I do apologize for this.
All right, I'm going to pause for a moment. I'm going to gather my thoughts, and then I'll come back to you. So I'm going to pause the screen here, and then give me about a couple minutes. I just want to organize my thoughts, and then I'll come back and let you know what I've decided.
If he has to organize himself through all the trash they looking at, he'll be back in a couple of days. I saw something here. I don't know if she has a dog or not, because she mentioned a dog, but since it's not video, we don't know. But this is a lot of trash testimony.
Okay, we are back on the record, and I'm going to briefly go through where we've started with this case as far as the court's involvement, and then describe what we've determined today. On October 8th, defendant pled guilty to the charge of accumulating trash, in this case number 2024-2250. The court imposed a $2,650 fine, also imposed 80 hours of community service, suspended both on the condition that the defendant have no loose items along the property as of 3 months from that date, which would have been January 8th. On January 16th, a hearing was held. At that hearing, I did find that the defendant was not in compliance, that there was property that was along the premises. And at that point, I reinstated the $2,650 fine. I suspended $2,150 of that fine and 64 hours of community service on the condition that the defendant bring the property into full compliance by February 24th. On February 24th, the defendant appeared and provided a photograph, which we are now calling Exhibit C. I'm going to share my screen and show what Exhibit C looked like. And that was Exhibit C which was a photograph of the property on February 24th. The court did not zoom in on that photograph, nor did anyone else zoom in on that photograph that was submitted on February 24th. And perhaps if we had, we would have seen some debris and property that was up along the front porch of the house and it was behind the juniper bush. We might have seen more if the court had zoomed in on that. And there may have been a different perspective of the court at that time. But it looked so much different on February 24th than it had looked either on January 16th or on October 8th. It was a dramatic improvement, especially if you looked at it simply from the photograph that was submitted, which was not zooming in, but just that photograph, seeing a few items of property along the driveway and a few items on the property. And the defendant, by the description, was that there'd been some water, there'd been some challenges, and that they were making great progress. So at that point, on February 24th, the prosecution made some comments about being satisfied with what the progress that had been made, with the exception of some items of property that appeared at the side of the driveway, and not really focusing on what was behind the juniper bush or along the porch.
That's right. They do need a panoramic scan of the property. I wouldn't walk back there, but you can send a drone back there and take pictures of the whole thing.
But as you look, now that we zoom in, there were some items of property that were there, even more now, and I'll bring up the March 17th photograph, but even more now. And there was still, even on February 24th, there was this refrigerator that was sitting there. And so still some items of property, but great progress, and no one's disputing that. And so that's why the court was hopeful that by today's date, the property would be in compliance such that there would be no need for any follow-up hearing. And I'm going to now turn to pull up Exhibit B, and I'll share my screen on that one. And so Exhibit B is now a photograph of that was again provided by the defendant for today's hearing of the property as of today's date, March 17th. And the items of property that were here along the side of the driveway are no longer at that location, although it appears that they've been moved. Not all of them, but it looks like some of them have been moved to other places on the property. And there are now some containers here that I'm circling. And then if you zoom in, and you go to the back porch, you can see behind the juniper bush, there's items of property. There are items of property along the north side of the juniper bush, which includes buckets, a tire, some boxes. If you get really zoomed in, you can see that there are some other items back there as well. And then to the far north end, there's a cardboard box, but there's also some items that have been identified as batteries, and it looks like another container that's here. Other items of property that are loose, items of property that are on the property. And so there is not full compliance. And perhaps it's because the prosecution and the court were so excited to see substantial improvement that we didn't dig further and act.
Hold on, a raid is incoming. All right, Lone Wolf is joining us again tonight. Well, welcome. Whoever shows up, come on in and hang out. We looking at trash right now. Hello, Rhonda. Thanks for the announcement. Appreciate that. what I was going to say too about this picture here. Now, if they all the pictures are one way, so somebody should have taken it on the other side so you can get a different perspective because we only can see what we're looking at from this angle. But I guarantee you, if you switch it to another angle, you're going to see more than that. That's hidden around that bush, tree, whatever it is. Oh, and thanks, Tess, for the super chat. Oh, while we're waiting, click the like. Okay. I appreciate you putting that out there. Yeah, they should have taken pictures more than one way. And I think at one time I think the prosecutor said he went out there and took pictures, but they're showing the same thing. You need to have different views of that so that he can see. That they so good at hiding stuff. I'm sure behind this tree or bush, whatever it is, there's more stuff back there they can't see. Hello, everyone that's coming in. Hello, everybody. All right, let's roll with it.
Actually look and see what was still on the property, but that did not mean that.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, he took the photos, but I think since they have a case, well, I don't know. I might have misheard it because I thought on an earlier case that guy was a Chris went out there or something. But I still think because this is such a big issue and they having so many court cases about it, somebody should have went out there and took another set of pictures. But maybe they just didn't have time or they don't have a Tyvek suit to go out there. I don't know.
That those loose items that were there were not something that the defendant was aware that are there. Those were there. She's responsible for knowing what's on her property. And coming into full compliance means what it meant in October, that there's no loose items of property. Giving full benefit of the doubt to the defendant, perhaps she was misunderstood and perhaps thought that if she just moved things and had them on behind the juniper bush or along the porch, that somehow would have been compliance. The order was very clear and the prosecution's plea offer was very clear in the court's mind.
Thank you, Rhonda, for the super chat. Pair character bowing down. Thank you. Saying thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
But nonetheless, giving some benefit of the doubt to Ms. Lecomte, that perhaps she thought that it would be okay if everything was simply behind the juniper bush and up on her porch. That's not.
Sorry, stop it again. I'm in another screen. I didn't see the sticker. That's a nice one. Thank you for that. Because I said the super chat on my screen that I'm in, it doesn't show it. I had to go over to the YouTube channel and look at it. So thank you very much. That's nice.
What the order said, that's not what the court was anticipating. And any misunderstanding about that, I'm going to clarify right now. And is that all items of property means all items of property visible to the public. And that means if it's on your porch and someone can walk by and see it on your porch, then it's visible to the public. And if it's an item that you need to use to help you get other items off the property, it can't sit out there while you're working. It has to be put away in the garage or put away somewhere else where it's not visible to the public. It can't sit out there while you are in the process of moving other property. That's not a legal defense to having all items of loose items of property off the property. Your mechanism for getting things off is whatever mechanism you choose to use, but it can't mean that from day to day, I'm going to have a whole bunch of things out on the property. And so that's where the court is concerned that perhaps the message is not been received as clearly as it should have been received. And it means all items of loose property. I am convinced by a preponderance of the evidence the defendant is not in full compliance as of today's date. I also believe that the defendant is making efforts to come into compliance. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to impose, there were 64 hours that were remaining. I'm going to reinstate those 64 hours. I'm going to impose, again, 16 hours of that, and I'm going to reinstate the $2,150 fine, and I'm going to suspend 1,650 of that, which would leave a $500 fine and 16 hours of community service. The difference is what I'm going to do today that I didn't do at the last hearing is I'm going to stay execution of that. That means that you don't have to pay that $500 today, and you don't have to complete that 16 hours of community service today. I'm going to stay it for 2 more weeks. And I'm going to give you the chance, Ms. LeCompte, to satisfy me on the next court date that we set, which will be about, give or take, 2 weeks, that everything that's on that porch, that everything that's along that driveway, and let me go back to my screen and make sure that it's showing.
You're right, because he's suspending it again. But if she gets all these community service hours, how's she going to clean up? And when I did the video last night, somebody had a good one because they said, hey, let her do a community service by cleaning up her own yard. But yeah, something, he's letting some of this go.
So everything that you see there, let me make it a little smaller. We'll start with and I'll start from the right. Trash cans. If I just saw trash cans and nothing behind them, a trash can and a recycle can, I'd be okay with that. But this is a loose item of property, this refrigerator. These tools are loose items of property. They need to be moved somewhere by the next court date. They can't just sit out there. These bins are loose items of property. These things that surround the bins are loose items of property. If it were just one garden hose, I could look, that's okay. That's an item of property that typically has been allowed in people's property. And Mr. Reynolds had previously said he was not going to be objecting to a hose and perhaps your trash cans. But whatever is back in here, I can't quite tell what it is. But there are items of property that are here that need to be removed. And whatever is back on the porch that are loose items of property, those need to be removed. And whatever is up here on this side, on the north side of that juniper bush, and what's behind the juniper bush, those need to be removed. These buckets need to be removed. Whatever this wheel is, I don't know exactly what it's attached to, but it needs to be removed. And these items back here, the batteries or whatever else they might be, they need to be removed. And if not, then when I next see you, you'll be required to pay the $500 fine that I've suspended and do the 16 hours of community service. And we will have another hearing to determine whether I should reinstate more. I don't want to do that. I also have great empathy for you because I know that physically, it's not as easy for you and perhaps financially, although you haven't specifically said what the financial challenges are, you've mentioned them, are perhaps part of the reason. But from the court's perspective, I'm speculating on this, but from the court's perspective, there's an unwillingness to let go of items that have no real value, and you're just shuffling them and moving them because for whatever reason, you can't let go.
Aha! He just said order, but he went around it. and you can't leave out Mr. Lau. He's helping. He didn't even say his name. I think that's not fair to Mr. Lau.
And this is a personal aside, but I'm cleaning out my mom's condo right now.
Oh.
And my wife is and I are having to let go of a lot of things. They have sentimental value to me, but I can't keep them. I can't move them from my mom's condo to my house and put them on my front porch or put them somewhere else in my backyard. I can't. I have to let go. And sometimes if it's a financial reason you think they have value or a sentimental reason, you have to realize that you have to let go. And you have to get rid of things, as hard as that might be, and it gets easier when you start letting go and saying, it's not the things, it's the memories. If it's a personal, if it's about an emotional connection, and if it's about a financial connection, the cost of paying fines and the cost of moving them and paying for storage has to be greater than the actual value of a lot of these things. And so that's me empathizing with you, Ms. LeCompte and Mr. Lau, but also trying to be real with you. These things don't have the value that you think they might have. So the good news is I'm not making you pay today. Nick's looking in the computer as we speak. I'll let Ms. operate in this. Let's talk about the next hearing date so that we can put it on my calendar and we can put it on everybody else's calendar, because it's going to be both an arraignment, but we've already advised her of her rights. We're not taking a plea on the new charge, and we can put it on my docket about 2 weeks from now. I want to give enough time. So today's the 17th. Let's look into the first week of April. And we could do April 7th. That would be that we can change that April 7th jury readiness conference to another hearing date. Mr. Reynolds, is that a date that you would be available?
What time is that, Your Honor?
April 7th at 2:15.
Yeah, what kind of fire sale are you talking about? Are you talking about the one without or with fire?
Much the same as today.
Any chance of going a little earlier? I completely blew through my afternoon meetings today.
Or you mean earlier in the day? Yes.
Earlier in the day.
Early in the afternoon. Yes, it looks like let me just double check that I don't have any meetings scheduled, but we don't have anything after our jail dockets. We could start as early as 1, but let me just double check that I don't have any, and it's a little hard because I don't have my calendar up in this courtroom. I'm going to assume that we can do April 7th at 1:15. I'm going to pause for a moment. Would that work if we did it at 1:15? Or even 1 o'clock, Ms. LeCompte, on April 7th, and then I'll go double check. I don't have anything on my
Your
calendar.
Honor, I am supposed to be at a conference that week in Portland, Oregon.
We could do the week before. We could do the 31st. That's 2 weeks from now. I could also do something.
I'm sorry that for me, it would have to be later because I'm leaving on the 30th to go to this conference and not returning until after the 7th. If I could move it a week later, that would work.
I'm not sure if that prosecutor fell asleep, but he was just stretching a couple of minutes back, like he took a little nap back there.
That's pretty far down the road. Mr. Reynolds, you want to be heard on that?
So it sounds like you're coming back on the 7th, Ms. LeCompte?
I'm coming back on the 7th, yes.
Let me look at the calendar. So we could conceivably do something on the 8th. I've got pretty much I could do something as early as 11 a.m. on the 8th of April or 1 o'clock on April 8th.
1 o'clock would be my preference.
1 o'clock on April 8th would probably be the court's preference as well. Ms.
That would work
LeCompte?
for me.
All right. That means you got to make some progress before you leave on March 30th, because you're not going to have any time on April 7th.
I understand that.
Okay.
So this is the April 8th at what time? 1 o'clock?
At 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Pause for a moment, because I'm gonna step aside for a moment. I want to go look at my personal calendar, because it's not up here in this courtroom. So I'll be right back.
Yeah, he'll be right back. The April 7th? No, not today. But I think I have the April 7th. But yeah, it's plenty. So we'll be continuing this because Mr. Lyle's going to be up on stage soon for whatever he got going on.
Okay, I'm back. I checked my calendar for April 8th. It's clear, so we can do 1 o'clock on April 8th. we'll be doing both things on April 8th at 1 o'clock. We'll be addressing where things stand for the front part of the property with respect to case number 2250 from 2024. And then we'll be addressing how you'd like to proceed with the new case number 2025-1045. I'm not taking a plea. I've advised you of your rights, but we're not taking a plea today or anything of that nature. I just want you to be on notice that you'll be back that day. I'm going to ask our probation staff to at least give you the application for the public defender, so that if you want to have public defender representation, you could make that application and I can make a determination as to whether you're eligible. I don't know whether you will be or not, but we'll have them email that to you, or if you need a hard copy, they can put it in the mail to you, and then you could fill it out and then you could send it back to us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. I'm trying to give you some grace here, Ms. Lecomte, which is that I could have just imposed this in 16 more hours of community service and the $500 fine. I'm trying to give you just a little bit of grace to get this thing wrapped up. You made some good progress. I think less than we thought you'd made, but you made some good progress. I think your intentions are perhaps to get into compliance, but you got to just carry it forward and get it done. It's been going on for too long, and you can do this. I know between you and Mr. Lau and anybody that you hire, you can get this done, and then we can stop meeting like this.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Let me just, yeah, you're welcome. Let me just pause. Ms. Bettencourt, or Ms. Aubrey, do you need to see Ms. Lecomte, or can you just email her the setting notice?
We'll email her the setting notice
Okay, good enough.
and the form.
Yes, perfect. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we'll go off the record.
Off the
Okay.
record. Well, that's another one down. And so, yeah, I think I have that next one. So we'll run that one too. And if you all are enjoying this, let me know in the comments if y'all want to keep this thing going with the case. And also, before people start dropping off, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. I got a video. I release videos every morning at 9 a.m. Unless for some reason I can't do it. 9 a.m. There's a good video coming out in the morning that I want y'all to check out. It's a couple, I think it was Wolf in there, not Lone Wolf. Always saying I'm a comedian or whatever, but I do have some funny points in there tomorrow, but there's definitely some drama. So tomorrow, whenever, check it out when it comes out. And yeah, make some comments in there. Hit the like button. Let me know what you think. So I think this is it for now. I've enjoyed myself once again tonight. Yeah, they're trashy. But yeah, I think seriously, I think she has a problem. And the judge did break it down. Hoarders don't want to let things go, and it's just hard for them to do that. And she's making excuses. So I think she has the signs of it, but she's gonna have to do it because the city is paying attention to her now. So she has no choice but to get it done. But I hope everybody have a good evening or morning, depending on where you are. And the next one will be coming. If it's not tomorrow, just look for it. But tomorrow morning, there's a video releasing, and I want y'all to see it, the ones that's on here. Oh, you're welcome, Harry. Thanks for always being here, just like everybody else. Thanks for being here, because y'all always here. And good support, and we have a lot of fun. So I will see you soon. Okay. Oh, y'all do want to see it, right? You want me to keep going with it? Because I'll keep going with it. Let me know. And I'll keep it running along with the other stuff I do on the regular uploads. So more than likely, this case we'll just do live stream so we can hang out. Because I like hanging out with y'all. It's a lot of fun doing it this way. And then I'll still do my regular uploads that I always do. All right. So good night. See you next time.